in business. In fact, the business you're really in is in the business of building relationships. That's the business that you are in. I believe that the most powerful asset that you will have in the 21st century will not be your computer. I'm sorry, I don't care what you've read. It will be your relationships. Why? Because relationship building ultimately drives all entrepreneurship. It drives all job searches. It drives all upward mobility in the public-private sector workplace. Relationship building, networking drives organization building, community building, and nation building. All of those things are inherently networking initiatives. That it is your ability to shape the scope of your search for human resources and bring them to bear on your challenges and opportunities in life is what will ultimately determine your level of excellence or success in life. It's all about relationships. And you thought it was about education. Now, don't get it twisted. Education is profoundly important, but it's not enough. I have a high school diploma in woodworking because nobody thought I was college material. I do not have an earned degree. Now, I have honorary doctorate degrees that were bestowed upon me for my body of work. But I mopped floors for 3 years on the midnight shift at LaGuardia Airport. But I had a very high EQ, emotional intelligence. I had an average IQ, but a very high emotional intelligence. So my ability to cultivate, nurture, and to build relationships and to get people to like me and I loved people was extraordinarily high. And it was my high EQ, my interpersonal and people skills that ultimately landed me in the Minority Business Hall of Fame and Museum with John H. Johnson, Bob Johnson, Earl Graves, A.G. Gaston. But I have a high school diploma in woodworking. My list of accomplishments are laced with thousands of people who I have collaborated with, built teams with, coalesced with, to achieve things that the ordinary person simply could not achieve. I've lived long enough to learn that life is really like a three-legged stool, and you need all three of the legs for the stool to stand. The first leg on the stool of life is education, that you must get as much education as you can afford or stand. But don't get overeducated. There are brothers and sisters out here who are overeducated. I have a good friend in Cleveland, Ohio, good brother, working on his second PhD, married, 43 years old, has 2 children, working on his second PhD. At Cleveland State, he's a research assistant, making $11 an hour. So I had to have a meeting with him because he's a good friend. And we went to Starbucks. I had to pay because, he ain't got no money. He got 2 PhDs, he's got 6 degrees, but no, making $11 an hour. So I said to my friend, I'm not going to tell you his name because he might be your cousin. I said, listen, man, you're 42 years old, married, 2 children, making $11 an hour as a research assistant, working on your second PhD. You need your ass kicked. That's what I told him. You need another degree like you need a hole in the head. What you need to do is to turn your education into a marketable skill where you're making more than $11 an hour. You need to get out of college and get you a damn job. You haven't done anything with the 5 degrees you already have, making $11 an hour, and you're working on another one. You are an educated derelict. That's what you are. You hiding behind your degrees. Get out there, get experience, and build relationships. It's an interesting article in Time magazine not too long ago. It was an interview with Sumner Redstone. How many of you know who Sumner Redstone is? Sumner Redstone is the chairman of the board of Viacom. Viacom bought BET for $3.2 billion. Anybody that can buy anything for $3.2 billion and have any money left over is stupid rich, right? They got stupid money. Sumner Redstone, this is the interview in Time magazine. That's Sumner Redstone. He was in China. And the interviewer asked Sumner this question. He said, Mr. Redstone, you're in China negotiating a new business deal, but it's still a very regulated and protected industry. Has the market opened up for you, Mr. Redstone? And here's what old Sumner said. Sumner said, you know, I've been coming here for many years, and I'm quoting, those years were spent for the most part in building relationships of friendship and trust with various officials of the Chinese government. And as a result of that, from a commercial standpoint, the doors have opened, and they've opened wide. Sumner Redstone now controls cable in China. Through what? Building relationships of friendship and trust. He didn't say one thing about money. Build the relationship. I'm here tonight because of relationships with Clifton and with the NSA and with the black accountants and with all of my friends that I know and love, and Jada Davis, who handles our volunteers, who's sitting here, and Margaret Kraft, who's in the audience, because of relationships of friendship and trust. That's why I'm here. You're in here for free because of your relationship with them and their ability to communicate with you and to connect with you and to attract you to this place. Let me finish something I started. I said there are 3 legs on the stool of life, and I said the first one is education. The second one is marketable skills, your ability to take your education and training out into the marketplace, add value, and then get an exchange for that value. If you're only making $11 an hour, you're only worth $11 an hour in the marketplace. So if you want to earn more, you have to learn more. A college degree is not enough. Let me tell you about black people and college degrees. There are about 17% of us with a 4-year college degree or better. W.E.B. Du Bois' vision for us 90 years ago was if at least 10% of us could get a college education, we would then get that education, come back to our own community, invest in our own people, and just 10% of all black people would uplift the entire black community by itself, where nearly 17% of black people have at least a 4-year college degree or better. So we have a lot of PhDs in our community. We now need some PhDs, okay? So we have black folk with education. If you look at just the baby boomer generation alone, just my generation, we have amassed over 500 billion hours of formal education and professional training from just one generation alone, my generation. If you wanted to put a dollar value on that, it's just $10 an hour, and try to get an education or professional training for $10 an hour. That would mean that our collective intellectual capital base would be worth in excess of $5 trillion alone, one generation. So we have brain power and we have money. And here's an interesting statistic that speaks to our deficit in teamwork and collaboration. You don't hear this statistic very often, but nearly 60% of black people working, 60% of the black workforce in America, 9 million of us, are in executive, managerial, supervisory, professional specialty, vocational, technical, administrative, sales, and business ownership positions. That is an army of potential role models and mentors to help those who are stuck in the cycle of poverty. In fact, there is no army in the entire world larger than the army of black people that have succeeded in this country. So make no mistake about it, success runs in our race. We have every single thing we need to succeed. Do we not? God ain't stupid.